Well, welcome to another episode of Coronacation. My name is Naomi White. I'm in Brisbane, Australia, and I'm delighted today to be joined by Yvonne McWey in Dublin in Ireland. How are you, Yvonne?
Hi, I'm really well, Naomi. Great to finally meet you over Zoom.
I know, I know. We're having great connections around the world during this bizarre time that we're in right
Yeah.
now.
And I mean,
Yvonne,
on that note, Naomi, I think it's an amazing initiative. I really do. And the more we can do this, particularly of getting women together and giving them airtime to be hopefully in some way inspiring to others, I think is very powerful. So well done on it.
well, you know what's really interesting, Yvonne? The number of women that have said to me, "Oh, I don't have anything interesting to say," and yet every interview is so interesting. So I think we underestimate how much we've actually got to share.
Agree.
So tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, so I live in Dublin. I live in a beautiful coastal area about 5 kilometres outside of Dublin called Clontarf. So I'm very fortunate to live by the sea. I was originally brought up down the country on a farm, and that really has been a major shaper on my life in that it's given me a lifelong interest in the great outdoors, in hiking and walking and traveling, in exploring and trying to make the most of life. So I love animals. I have huge eclectic interests. I love going to outdoor gigs and eating out with friends. Of course, all the things you can't do now, a lot of the things you can't do now. I've been 30 years in corporate life. I've been very fortunate in that I've enjoyed most of it. But over the last number of years, I've reached a decision around making a career and life transition. So I'm now in the middle of setting up my own business.
Oh,
So probably
congratulations.
not the best time to be doing it, but it's been a while in motion. So it's been an interesting time from that perspective. So that's essentially me.
Well, it might be the perfect time to start your business because it'll certainly
Well,
force you to be innovative,
hopefully.
won't it?
Yeah,
And I've been
yeah.
to Clontarf in Dublin. I was there a couple of years ago. It was absolutely
Oh,
beautiful.
wow.
Yeah, lovely
Yeah,
part
it
of the
is.
world.
It is lovely, and the weather's been actually gorgeous, beautiful spring weather, which I think can have a big impact on our mood and our
Oh,
mindset. And
completely.
it's bright
Absolutely.
and sunny. So you're lucky you have it the whole time, Naomi.
Well, yes. It's a little bit too warm at the moment. We're waiting for it to cool down. So anyway,
Yeah.
so aside from choosing to set up your business in the middle of this, how else is this COVID-19 situation affecting you personally?
I think there's a number of things at play here in that from a broader societal context, I just think the last year, 18 months have been hugely challenging, hugely transformative, hugely disruptive, both in a positive and a negative way. So from a political sense, we've seen the rise of popularism. We've
Mm-hmm.
seen the rise of leaders that perhaps aren't the most inspirational or positive. We've seen, at an economic sense, huge upturn in economies. In Ireland, we've had a major economic turnaround. At a societal levels, we see different societal norms going on. And I think from a climate change level, I think there's been huge raising of awareness by the likes of Greta. Like her or loathe her, she certainly raised awareness. So I just think, and even how we've been working in terms of the impact of technology, all of those factors I think have meant that we're now in our equivalent of an industrial age. But of course, nobody could have ever anticipated, certainly from my perspective, that we would now have a worldwide pandemic that would bring us all literally back to basics, literally
Yeah.
back to ourselves, literally a complete turning upside down of everything we've known. So I think all of the change has been hugely cumulative. And the reason I mention all of that is that I'm part of that. And because I like to look outwards, that's been a huge impact on me in terms of now, whilst I live on my own, and I've always loved living on my own. And thankfully, because I've got so many interests, I'm not someone that, is lonely, but now suddenly I'm in solitude, because in Ireland we've taken the lockdown very seriously. So really since about the 13th of March, we are not allowed to go out more than 2 kilometers from our house. Everything is shut, apart from supermarkets and pharmacies. So there is nothing open. So it's been a real lesson for me around going back to the basics and living a much more simpler life. So I hate to admit it, I'm a highly materialistic person. So I love going out shopping. I love eating out with friends. I love getting my hair done, buying makeup, all of the things that I just indulge myself in. And now suddenly I can't do any of that. And I never thought that I'd be able to live without all of that, but somehow I am. And actually life is so much simpler. So that's been definitely a big impact on me. But I think one of the biggest impacts, and I mentioned solitude, is the lack of physical contact with my family and friends. That's been very, very challenging. Whilst I love my own company, I love my friends too. I love my family, and not having that contact has been, not being able to hug them, shake people's hands. In Ireland, we're quite a sociable kind of bunch of people. So we're used to going out socializing, eating, drinking, enjoying music together. Suddenly we're not able to do that. So it is just almost very counterintuitive to now suddenly be not able to do all of that, and to relearn and adjust to what's happening in the world. I think the other aspect is that it has made me, and I know it sounds twee and patronizing, but it really has made me grateful for what I have. The fact that I can eat what I want, that I can, enjoy my house, that I can read old books, that I can listen to music now, and that I can be really present. And being present, that has definitely been something that I'm a very busy person. And I just think it's got me to relook at how I've been using my time and how I'm using my time now. And time is a real gift. And I think sometimes we think we don't have choices around it. So whilst my choice around doing things has been taken away, my choice around how I use my current time has been given back to me. And that's been a real gift. I think the other aspect is it's given me more headspace to think, reflect, and be serious in terms of my purpose in life. And again, it sounds haughty-taughty or almighty, but I just think that's within all of our power to rethink, refresh, recalibrate our purpose in life. What really matters to us, what's my priorities, what's really important to me, what are my values, what do I want to give back, what do I want to achieve. They're all very simple questions, but profound questions if you really take the time to think about it. And certainly that's been the impact on me, because I have the time and headspace to do that. Now, I appreciate, that's why I'm grateful. There's so many people that are trying to homeschool their kids while work from home and just multitask and, maybe bringing up noisy kids. I don't have any of that. So I am truly grateful for that, but I still think it's possible to make that time. And that's certainly something I've been doing. I guess the last part is around the pride that I have in how our government has shown really good leadership in this. They've been really decisive. They provide clarity in terms of what they're going to do. They've made really quick decisions around mobilizing support to people, because suddenly from full employment, we now have 17.5% unemployment rates. We have a quarter of our people now on relying on social welfare benefits. So it's been a massive turnaround for the whole country, but our government, I think, has handled it well. So it's made me realize the importance of leadership. Whilst I've always known the importance of leadership, I think when you can really be honest with people, when you treat them adult to adult, when you can make things happen And when you're doing it with the right motive and when there's transparency, the power of that is absolutely enormous. And I think I've real pride in the government on that. And the impact that that's had, Naomi, is that it has mobilized local communities for each of us to step up and try and do something within our community for those that are more vulnerable, and to be much more other-centered. And I guess all of this is going to be really important in when we try to come back to normal, or whatever the new normal is. Yeah. So I would say that's how it's impacted on me. So it's been mixed. You know, I'm saying I'm quite a positive person, I know, but I've had my down days. I've had fearful days in terms of worried about, you know, family's health. I've had angry days when I can't do what I want to do. I've had frustrating days. I'm starting back in college and doing an exec coaching program, and that by its nature is interactive, but of course it's all over technology. And whilst I railed against it and was angry about that, you just have to adjust. You just have to build a bridge and get over it and just do it. And I think we can all surprise ourselves, and I've surprised myself around technology. Technology, whilst it can have negative impacts, I think it's been used very positively in this moment in time. So that's probably a long-winded way of saying at a context level it's had huge impact on me, but at a personal level it's really caused me to look inwards in order for me to look outwards in a more informed way.
Well, you know, it's so interesting, isn't it, at the end of this, what normal will look like? Because I think everybody I speak to says, we won't just go back to the way we were, because everyone's changing through this process. I was talking to somebody today that was saying that they don't think anyone will ever go back to a full-time working week. You know, there will be a work from home in the new world. I mean, there's so many implications. But based on what she said, I mean, what advice would you give based on all of that to others who are going through this and perhaps experiencing what you're experiencing?
I think in terms of advice, so again, I don't want this to sound patronizing. I'm talking from my own perspective, and hopefully there's something in it for people. But I suppose I've really taken this to heart because I've had the luxury of time to really reflect on it. I think the first thing is living a simpler life can be fun. So suddenly I'm saving, I'm not spending money, and I'm feeling good about it, and I can enjoy the basics. Going back to, I get loads of recipe books that are given as presents to me. I don't know why that is, because I don't cook, but suddenly now I'm cooking. And my God, the joy you can get from cooking and the simplicity of it, it's really good. So I really do want to try and live a simpler life. I don't want to be a news junkie and a social media junkie. And I do want to really be mindful in terms of my spending. So living a basic life, a simpler life, is going to be complex for me, but I think it can also bring huge fulfillment. So I'd love to be able to maintain that. Yeah. I think the second aspect is from a physical and mental well-being and even spiritual well-being. I think it's, for me, it's been really important in terms of trying to regulate my sleep pattern. I'm a notoriously bad sleeper, but I'm actually, I read this really good book by Matthew Walker on sleeping, and it's been really good. And like, one of the key things is around getting regular sleep, you know, going to bed at a certain time, getting up at a certain time, and other good habits around sleeping. And, you know, sleeping is so nurturing for us. And to get a good night's sleep is just, you know, it's a real gift, particularly for those that can get it. So that's been something I you know, from a physical and mental health well-being has been very important. Also, just breathing properly, taking a moment to actually listen to how you're breathing. We don't realize we're breathing so fast because we're anxious, we're trying to do too much. So I think like the basics of breathing, I've been fortunate enough to love yoga.
Mm.
I'd love to be able to say I meditate. I just can't focus. I really would love to. I'm envious of people that can really be in the moment and really meditate, but I can see the benefits of it.
Mm.
But somehow I can get that through exercise, and particularly through yoga and through walking. I think from a spiritual well-being, I've been thinking a lot about this, you know, because when you are recalibrating what is your purpose and what matters to you, the biggest impact and the biggest thing that will sustain me to make some changes, because I think it's great being aspirational, but how do you actually sustain the change and the aspiration and walk the talk, I guess, is for me, the spiritualism is manifesting itself in being more at one with my community and with society in general. And that is around giving back in some simple way. So I'm part of a mentoring program helping local areas that don't have the same privileges that I've had. And that's been really, really fulfilling. So you're giving back in some way. It doesn't cost you anything, it costs some time, but the benefits that other people can get. And I just think it's all about stepping into taking some accountability and leadership, that we all can give back. We can all make a difference, particularly in terms of mobilizing together. So the community mobilization in Ireland, but we've seen it across the world, where people are being kinder to each other, where people are pulling together to try and make a difference. I think if only we could continue to sustain that, I think that would be so powerful. And I know it is a cliche almost to say now, be kind to each other, but my goodness, can you imagine if every single person in the world were kind in some way to each other, and not in a materialistic way, but in a thoughtful way? My goodness, what a different world we would be.
Starting
And
to see that now.
you know, for those people out there that think, you know, all of these changes are happening for a reason, if they are, then we really should be trying to use this change positively to make a difference and to sustain it.
Definitely.
I think the other aspect then would be I'm in the midst of learning, so I haven't read books in years, and I'm ashamed to say that. And I'd be recommending books to people I've worked with, and you know, spend too much time reading magazines or reading social media, and not enough different sort of books. And I just think that's a really good thing to do. I'm opening my mind up. I'm shaking the cobwebs of my mind to learn something new, to be to open my mind up to other different perspectives. And I've recently read Michelle Obama's book, and I just found it so inspirational. My goodness, it's not very political, it's very human. And, you know, the whole public service mentality that she has. And I took inspiration from that in terms of really what is it that I can do, that I can give back. And while still living and maintaining a decent lifestyle. And I just think that it's within our power to shape our future and make the impossible possible.
Yeah.
And I believe that our mindset and the support that we give each other and seek from each other is going to be very important in the next phase, because I think, you know, we're all going to be experiencing a massive economic downturn. We're all in some way going to be experiencing friends, family, ourselves, you know, that are experiencing mental health issues as a result of the, you know, the impact of this. And we're all going to, the future of work is going to be completely different. And I think that we will need to adjust to that and use technology in a positive way, but be more human in how we're doing our business. Because, you know, when we're working remotely, very easy to do everything technology wise, but actually maintaining that human touch, contact, empathy is going to be really important. So I think, yeah, it's a real opportunity to use change in a positive way to live more simply. So that's that's where I'm at, I guess.
That's excellent. Some really beautiful insights there and some great advice. So, Yvonne, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and enjoy
You're
the rest
welcome.
of
Thank you
your
for
day.
the opportunity.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.